In the palm of your hand, you might be holding a fortune. A single penny. 1 cent worth virtually nothing, or worth over $1 million. This is the story of Canada's rarest coin, the 1936 penny, a mistake that became a legend. Look closely at this innocent piece of copper. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary Canadian cent from 1936. King George V gazes regally from one side, maple leaves frame the denomination on the other. But there, just below the date, do you see it? A tiny dot. Small enough to miss. Valuable enough to change your life. To understand why this dot exists, we must travel back to 1936, a year of upheaval, uncertainty, and an unprecedented crisis that shook the British Empire to its core. January 20, 1936. King George V died at Sandringham House after ruling for 25 years. The crown passed to his eldest son, who became King Edward VIII. Across the Commonwealth, new coins would need to be minted bearing the new monarch's image. But Edward VIII had a secret that would scandalize the world. He was in love with Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee. The Church of England forbade it. Parliament opposed it. Edward faced an impossible choice, the crown or the woman he loved. On December 11, 1936, after ruling for just 326 days, Edward VIII made his choice. In a radio address heard around the world, he abdicated the throne, the only British monarch to voluntarily give up the crown. His younger brother would now become King George VI. This created an extraordinary problem for mints across the Commonwealth. They had already prepared dies with Edward VIII's image. But he was no longer king. New dies with George VI's portrait would take months to create. Yet the country desperately needed coins. What could they do? The Royal Canadian Mint devised an ingenious solution. They would continue using the 1936 dies with George V image, but add a tiny dot below the date. This dot would indicate that although the coin showed 1936, it was actually struck in 1937, during George VI's reign. A simple mark with extraordinary consequences. But here's where rarity enters our story. The dot coins were meant to be a temporary bridge until proper 1937 dies arrived. The mint produced several denominations, cents, 10-cent pieces, and 25-cent pieces, all with the mysterious dot. But for the 1-cent pieces, only a handful made it into circulation. Records suggest that 678,823 1-cent dot coins were struck. But here's the tragedy, or the fortune, depending on your perspective. Most were never released. They were melted down when the proper 1937 coinage arrived. Today, fewer than 10 examples are confirmed to exist. Some estimates put the number even lower, perhaps only 5 or 6 specimens survive. For decades, the 1936 penny existed as a rumor, a whisper among serious collectors. A few specimens surfaced, each discovery sending shockwaves through the numismatic community. Imagine finding one in your grandfather's old coin collection, or receiving one in change at a grocery store. It has happened. But authentication is crucial. The dot must be original, not added later. Experts examine the strike quality, the copper composition, the wear patterns. Under magnification, genuine dot pennies reveal themselves through specific die characteristics that counterfeiters cannot replicate. When a genuine 1936 penny comes to auction, collectors from around the world compete. In recent years, specimens in exceptional condition have sold for over $400,000. Some experts believe that a perfect, uncirculated example could fetch over $1 million. For perspective, that's 100 million times its face value. The specimen you're looking at exhibits the characteristic brown copper patina of a coin that has survived nearly 90 years. Notice the detail still visible in King George V portrait. The maple leaves remain crisp. And there, that precious dot, tiny but unmistakable. This is not just a coin. It's a time capsule, a historical artifact, a reminder of a constitutional crisis that changed an empire. But why does this matter? Why does a simple penny command such devotion? Because it represents a unique moment when romance challenged duty, when tradition collided with modernity, when a king chose love over empire. The 1936 penny is a tangible piece of that drama, a mistake made necessary by unprecedented circumstances. Somewhere out there, more may still exist. In forgotten jars, old albums, inherited collections. Every year, collectors search through millions of pennies hoping to find that distinctive dot.
It is beautiful.
The odds are astronomical, but they hunt anyway. Because that's the beauty of numismatics, treasure hiding in plain sight. The 1 cent isn't alone in this story. The 1936 10-cent piece is also extremely rare and valuable. The 25-cent version, while scarce, is more commonly found. But the penny, the humble cent, remains the crown jewel, the ultimate get for serious collectors. The story of the 1936 penny reminds us that history isn't just in museums and textbooks. It's in our pockets, our drawers, our inherited possessions. Every object has a story. Some just happen to be worth a fortune. So tonight, when you get home, take a look at any old Canadian pennies you might have. Check beneath the date on 1936 examples. You're almost certainly not going to find one, but isn't the possibility thrilling? That's the magic of collecting. Hope, history, and the chance, however slim, of discovering something extraordinary. A tiny dot. A constitutional crisis. A fortune hiding in plain sight. The 1936 penny, proof that sometimes the smallest details tell the biggest stories.